Hi, welcome to this episode of The Dish with Danielle. I'm your host, State Representative Danielle Gregoire. Today, we are live at the Prospector East Saloon in Marlborough, and I have with me the ladies from the Marlborough Economic Development Corporation. We have Linda, Lindsay, and Meredith.
Hi, Danielle.
And hi, thanks for coming, guys. Thanks for letting me crash your lunch. Yeah. Apparently, there's a very big Lunch Friday crowd here at the P. And so I'm very excited to be having my pastrami sandwich, and we're going to talk about what everybody's eating and what all the offerings are here at the Prospector as we go along in our conversation. But why don't you guys introduce yourselves to the folks at home who might not know you? We'll talk a little bit about what MEDC does, who you are, and what your presence is in the community, and then we'll take it from there.
Sure. So I'm Meredith Harris, the Executive Director of Marlborough Economic Development Corporation. Resident here in Marlborough, raising my 2 kids with my husband here in the city, and just really excited to be a part of the community and leading the Economic Development Office here in the city.
Lindsay?
Hi, I'm Lindsey Jaworek, and I am the Hospitality Outreach Manager for Marlborough Economic Development. I've been with the team for 5 years and love every minute. 4 years.
Almost
jumping the gun.
Time flies.
Just have a lot of fun, finding ways that we can keep making Marlborough great.
And I have to say, as a fellow lifelong resident of Marlborough, I'm happy that you're here and giving us your talents, and we have a lot of fun along the way, too, huh?
We do.
And Linda, the OG of the MEDC.
Yes. Linda Martins with the Marlborough Economic Development Corporation. I am the Director of Operations. I've been with MEDC for over 14 years.
Wow.
So I like it here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've been here this long. So it's great being here. I live over in Hudson, so it's very close. But I always get that.
We try not to hold it against her.
So
sorry, it's a habit.
I know.
Right.
We just have to find our house here.
Well,
right.
All right. We can get to work on that. I'm sure somebody in the viewing audience would be happy to help Linda on her house hunt. Meredith, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you all do at MEDC, maybe whether on a daily basis or, just kind of what the MEDC is all about and who you work with and how it came into being and all of that stuff.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. So MEDC is the economic development arm for the city of Marlborough. We like to call it kind of the sales and promotional arm for the city. Our job is to go out and do business development. So business attraction, retention, all of that with the goal of trying to maintain and stabilize the residential tax base. And so what that means when you bring in commercial folks into the community, it helps to shoulder the burden of the taxes that need to be paid in the community. And so that takes a little bit of the pressure off of the residents. So that's our main goal, and that's the reason why we do it. We started back in 2006 with an idea. You may remember Fidelity.
I remember.
Yeah, Fidelity at the time was here, a big employer in the city, and they left what it felt seemingly overnight, and nobody knew that they were leaving. So a bunch of folks much smarter than myself came together at the time, and they came up with this idea of Marlborough 2010. So the idea was we're going to work for the next 4 or 5 years to try and create some new business in the community, to build the commercial sector, and let's get to 2010. Mm-hmm. Well, 2010 came pretty quickly. It started out as a membership-based organization, very much like a chamber. And so I think when we hit the 2010 timeframe, they realized that the model was not sustainable. And we also didn't want to be competing with the chamber. Very different missions, different organizations. Right. So at that point, they decided to change the name to Marlborough Economic Development Corporation. It became city funded. It actually was a big push at that time to implement the local option hotel tax. We're now funded through that stream of funding. We don't get all the money that comes in through the hotels, but we go in front of the council each year with our budget, which is multiple different facets. I'm sure we'll get into it, but we do business attraction retention. We do a lot of hospitality, which is what Lindsay focuses on, and some small business things we've kind of grown into over the years.
Right. And so the organization was initially created through legislation, which I worked on as a staffer before I was elected. And, the
I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah. Worked on it a little bit. And then, the issue around it was around 2010, 2012 with the hotels tax, right? Because we increased the state sales tax, which was not popular. But then the city council went ahead and said, since we have this unique opportunity here with the number of hotel rooms that we have in Marlborough, there was a revenue stream that was just sitting there that doesn't negatively impact the residents of the city, which is really unique. A lot of my colleagues at the State House ask me how we do it and how we fund it. And they have certain ways that they're looking at to fund certain things. But Marlborough has been really dedicated with dedicating the meals tax money to preserving open space and recreation,
Right.
and the hotels tax money
For economic
development. So but again, it's a very unique situation where we have more hotel room nights than any other city
That's
or town in
right.
the Commonwealth besides Boston, right?
Right. That's
Right.
greatest number of
Right.
rooms outside of Greater
Outside of-
Boston.
Guys, TV time out. Meet our friendly neighborhood bartender, Andrea. Everybody say hi to Andrea.
Can we eat our we can eat our
we
sandwiches,
can eat our
right?
sandwiches. Let's
Okay.
talk a little bit about, you guys come here for lunch all the time. Let's talk
We
a little
do.
bit about our
We do.
food offerings here, because people rave about it. I know my mom comes here with her girlfriends sometimes. I mean, people from all walks of life end up here. We all ended up here after the mayor's ball in our gowns.
Yeah.
You know,
I'll let Lindsay take that one because Lindsay loves the pea. We all love
right,
the
We all
pea.
love it here.
We do
give
love
us your
the
best
pig.
hospitality spiel for the P.
So I always came here for the burger and steak tips, but then when I started at MEDC, I started having the chicken.
So good.
And then
I'm having that
we've
next
gone
time.
on to the pastrami and cheese. We literally jump all over the board. But it's just a great place to come, have a quick lunch or an extended lunch. We always run into people that we know, have questions for us, want to
Very
know what
casual.
we're working on, very casual. And you get to dress your own sandwich.
That
So-
offering bar over there is pretty extensive.
It's the best.
I had a whole bowl of pickles before we started filming. They're
And the
delicious.
best pasta salad too.
It's very good.
is.
And no one gets their burger the same, right?
Right.
You go order somewhere. Oh, I don't want tomato. I don't want onion. Here, you just get to make it yourself.
And it really is like the Cheers of Marlborough.
It
Because
is.
You never know who you're going to run into
Yeah.
here. When we were talking about filming this episode, I was trying to get in touch with the owner, who may or may not be joining us as a special guest a little bit later in the episode.
Good.
Always over my shoulder, keeping an eye on us. And, Lindsay said he's around about the same time every day. And I came down the other day, and,
There he
there
was.
was a crowd full of regulars here at the bar. And it's just home, right?
Yeah. It's Barbara's last dive bar.
And it's
Or
I
real
bring people
bar.
from all over the state
Yeah.
here when they come to Marlborough for work, or my colleagues from the State House. I always tell everybody, you come to Marlborough, you do this thing that we have to do, and then I'll take you to the dive bar, and you will not regret it. Everyone loves it.
Well, in the music, so you can also
Yeah.
control the jukebox, which is really fun.
It is, and I love that. And I finally figured out, I know the night of the Mayor's Ball, I was very disappointed. I had downloaded the app to control the jukebox when I was traveling out of the country, and so it wouldn't let me transfer my
Oh.
credits. So I had to
Hard lesson
uninstall and
learned.
re-download and change
Yeah.
a different email and the whole thing. But I got it figured out. So
You're a pro
apologies in advance for the country music that comes on that jukebox when I'm
The
here.
fun, the trick to that, you can actually be at your house and play music in
Yes.
the bar.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you can mess with your
Mess
friends.
around.
I have friends who do that frequently at other establishments and have made a whole game out of it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you guys were telling me a little bit about this visit you took to a new kind of
Oh, yeah.
area in Dorchester yesterday, and talking about how cool it was. Let's talk a little bit about that. And are you trying to emulate it here at Marlborough? Is that the goal, or?
I mean, that's a dream. We
We
just
had,
went
a
there
light
last
bulb
night
go
for the
off.
first
Yeah.
time.
They were so excited to tell me about it this morning.
Yeah.
That we
Oh, you
wanna-
didn't get to go?
I didn't get to go.
All right, we'll go.
But they
All right, so
were
tell us,
very
what did you tell
excited
me it was
about it.
called?
It's called Park City, and it's on the dot, which is Dorchester Avenue in Dorchester. And it's essentially an outdoor venue that is like the world's greatest backyard hangout.
It was so cool.
That's so cool.
So they have all these cabanas set up and outdoor bars and cornhole and a stage.
And places to get food.
Yeah, food.
But we walked in, so we were there for MassEcon, which is the state, basically the state site selection team. I'm on the board of directors there, so we were there for a meeting, and then they had a summer reception after. And Lindsay at one point kind of looked at me and was like a light bulb moment of, we have to bring this to Marlborough. We need to figure out a way to kind of bring maybe a mini version of this to the city. We kind of were saying pop-up, the pop-up programs. It lends itself to another type of pop-up situation.
Kind of like what we had with the Pocket Park when that was open on a bigger scale.
Yeah, and a revenue generator because the
Maybe we could
pocket parks are great, but we're giving up commercial space or a tax income. So to find ways to also generate revenue through
and give
it
people
is the
something
key.
to do. So like last weekend we had the Splash Into Summer. Now were you guys involved with that at all?
Through the Downtown Village Association.
Okay. It was great. So many people were out on Main Street and behind City Hall, and shopping from local artisans and local food purveyors, and it brought a lot of people out. And so what's next for the MEDC? What are you all working on now?
Well, it depends on who you're talking to, right? So we all have very different things that we work on. You know, Linda works, and we can all talk about what we do, but Linda does a lot of the Toolbox Programming, which you hear from some of the small businesses that are looking for grants or funding to upgrade their, you know, infrastructure or their signage or their awnings. Actually, the awning here at the P.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, we were able to help Bob.
That's great.
Fund that improvement. So that's a lot of what Linda's doing. She also runs the shuttle bus, the commuter shuttle, which is great. I won't give away all your spoils, but Lindsey does a lot of the hospitality and small business and the downtown pop-up shops. And I do a lot more of the big business. You know, so my biggest thing I've been working on recently was the crime lab.
Right.
So the state crime lab we're excited, coming to Marlborough, but they're going to be building a brand new 200,000 square foot building, $200 million investment, and bringing over 300 jobs to the
I
city.
would like to think that it's the mayor's and my pitch that put it over the top for us to get the crime lab, but it might have been the
police
soundtrack.
Yes, right.
So just a funny little story. We go into the folks,
Great
the
way.
site selection
Yeah.
committee and the people that are doing the pitch to get the crime lab here in Marlborough, and they have their pitch. And the first thing that happens is you hear bad boys from cops from back in the day on TV, and everyone in the room cracked
First
up.
up
And it was,
laughter.
you know, such a important, critical moment and a critical presentation, but there was a little moment of levity to it. And that could have been what put it over the top, but I'm going to give.
I think it might have been.
And the mayor and I, you know, put in our best plug for our beloved home city of Marlborough that, you know, we've never gotten out of. So
Yeah, and that's how we do things here. We have fun with it. We just did a pitch to try to get the professional firefighters of Massachusetts. And so we presented this flyer for the members to gain traction and interest on it. And it's like, okay, we have 100+ dining establishments. We have
you know what?
9 hotels.
Let's get together on
we
that,
have,
because I work
we
with
have
those
all
guys
of
all the time.
these assets, but on it we throw in a line, throws great parties.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Knows how
that's
to throw a
what
party.
that's
They would
what
love it here.
grabbed them.
Right.
Exactly.
I know those
And
guys.
so
We work together all the time.
Yeah.
we love Marlborough, and that's what makes us have fun in our pitches and in what we're trying to sell.
Right.
I'm actually working with them right now in the 2017-2018 legislative session. I was the chair of the Joint Committee on Elder Affairs.
Okay.
And we did a major piece of legislation around Alzheimer's and helping people with Alzheimer's and
That was a big deal for
requiring
you.
training.
Yeah.
And right now, the Alzheimer's Association sent me on the road. I was, you know, touting it nationally and trying to get other states to replicate what we did, and working on 2.0 version that requires training for first responders. And we actually had the hearing this week, Tuesday morning, I think, and the PFFM testified in favor of the bill. So,
that's great.
and as did MassCop, which is the organization that represents police. So the first responders are on board with the bill. So I'm hoping we can move forward. But it's
That's
just
awesome.
like those interactions,
Yeah.
and I'm telling you, those PFFM guys will love it here.
Yes.
No,
We
I
thought
will-
so too.
I will
think
talk to
so.
them.
Yeah.
We think so too.
I will talk to them.
But
So
it's that kind of stuff of really getting out. I mean, our job it's serious. We're doing big work, important stuff, but we do try to have fun with it. And when you're selling a product that's as great as Marlborough, it's easy to have fun with it.
Yeah.
You know, and honestly, Lindsey and I looked at each other last night of like, this is a really cool concept that you did not used to see those types of things in suburban
Right.
areas. But you do now. In another project that we did a couple years ago of bringing kind of that urban Boston type of thing to suburbia was the downtown pop-up shops.
Yeah.
You know, that was something we saw in the Seaport in different areas where you're giving temporary retail space to retailers that are looking to test out the market. And we've had huge success with it.
and then you had at least one of the retailers or a
Two.
couple that ended up getting brick and mortar spots on Main Street.
Yeah, we're
Which
2
is
for 2 right
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
now. Yeah.
So
And can I just jump into
no, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, why that's important, right? So how it all kind of goes together. My job is to bring in the big fish.
Right.
Right. Linda's servicing the small fish and making sure they stay here. Lindsay's doing cool, unique things, restaurants, hospitality.
Making sure everyone has stuff to do in their
making sure they're
downtime.
here. And the importance of that is the big fish would never come if their employees didn't want to be here.
Absolutely.
Right.
And so really trying to build that ecosystem of there's things to do once you get here, and a big company can be successful here because you can find the employees and
Yep.
they're going to want to stay here when you find them.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think
Right.
it's great. And I think that the point you hit on about having fun, don't judge me. I'm a big Real Housewives person, and all the Real Housewives have their taglines
Love
at the
that.
beginning.
Ooh.
And my Real Housewife tagline is, if you're not having fun, you're doing something wrong.
I agree with
Agree.
that.
So
100%.
I think
yeah.
that's great. So
I
we're
don't
going to
have
take
any
a
on
quick
me yet.
break. We'll be
Okay.
right back. Stay tuned for more of The Dish with Danielle. Welcome back to this episode of The Dish with Danielle. I'm your host, State Representative Danielle Gregoire, live at the Prospector with the ladies from the Marlborough Economic Development Corporation. And we're going to turn our attention from the lunchbox to the toolbox that Linda has been working on at the MEDC. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that, Linda?
So our toolbox is a tool that we use with financial incentive programs for small business and mid-sized businesses as well. So we help small business with rental assistance, equipment, anything that will help with their growth.
Tech support? Maybe. Not really.
I mean, it depends.
If they were purchasing,
it depends if they were purchasing new equipment to grow the business.
I imagine that must be hard for a
I
lot
also
of people.
we connect them with the small business.
Center.
At Clark.
Clark University.
That's great.
We connect them with other vendors that would help them with their business plans and financially as well.
That's great. And you said you guys were working on a new program too. Can you tell us a little bit about
So
that?
this new program, it's our 5th program that we're adding to the toolbox.
Wow.
It's going to help existing businesses in the city that have been here for 5 years or more. So this will help them with equipment expenses.
The prospector will qualify.
Yes. So there is a catch to it where you have to be expanding the business.
Okay.
Offering new services that weren't offered before.
I gotcha.
Or new products or items.
Okay.
So it's more just to help those that are already here and not just the new businesses coming in.
That's great.
So the other programs are more for new companies coming in or those that are here already but are expanding their footprint, like in square footage.
Or doing like facade
improvements, to the exterior. And then this new program will help those that are not necessarily expanding in that footprint, like in square footage, but with their services and offerings.
That's great.
Yeah.
We've been able to grant almost $300,000.
Wow.
Yep.
Over the 10 years that the programs have been in place and
And
helped a slew of companies that everybody knows about, restaurants, places that everybody loves to be at.
That's awesome. And I think, that goes back to what you were talking about earlier, which is the whole, looking at it as a whole pie, right? The big businesses come because they have the little businesses, and the little businesses thrive because they have the employees of the big businesses.
Right.
And Lindsay, when we were talking at lunch, you were mentioning, we talked briefly about the splash into summer and how important it is to engage young people and young families so that we can continue to grow the community and keep people here. So we talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I just think that's an important part when we're looking at the whole picture of the city is how do we get those people that are here invested in what's happening and have that hometown pride that we all have and the next generation has. I get so excited. Meredith's raising her kids in Marlborough, and when we're at events, they're Panthers, right? It's awesome.
It is awesome. It is awesome. I talk all the time about how I couldn't wear orange for like 20 years after I graduated from high school because I wore it every day. But now every year when I go to Marlborough High graduation, I bust out my best orange get-ups. And, I can do it now, but I had a little PTSD there for a while.
But my kids love all the events, all this stuff. You've seen, I think, over the last, maybe 6-7 years, a lot of events coming back. The Food Truck and Arts Festival, the Union Common, the concert series.
Family Fun Day.
Yeah, Family Fun Day. There's been a lot. Honestly, sometimes we laugh because it feels like there's a lot going on in Marlborough all the time. Because there was a time when people were saying we need things to do. We've got to create something. And I think we've done a pretty good job as a community.
Lot of these events are low cost or free to the families. Yeah. So I mean that's key too because young families starting out might be a little
barrier
pressed for cash and so it's great to give these families stuff that they can do with their kids, keep them engaged and keep them busy and give the parents a little bit of a break in some cases, I assume.
And a lot of the events have the local breweries that come down, and so you can get your break. You can have a nice cold beer, and there's all kinds of the food trucks and all the local vendors are all people that are near and dear to all of our hearts. They're all local folks.
And is there a place? So tell us a little bit about your website and some of the places where folks can find this information if they're looking for it.
Yeah, so our website is Marlborough, spelled the long way with the UGH, Marlborough EDC, Economic Development Corporation.com.
Okay.
All of our contact information is right there on the website. You can also find us right downtown above the Vin Bin.
Right.
We're right up there at 91 Main, which is the old fire police, and I think it was also the courthouse at one point.
Police.
Yes.
And we're neighbors down the street from our friends here at WMCT-TV.
Right, absolutely. Filming. And I was actually going to say, in addition to WMCT being your neighbor, you recently had Ryan, the director, on your podcast.
He's great.
So it's, it really is a spirit of cooperation and teamwork. And we're all trying to work together to do what we can to keep Marlborough, it's not just me, the politician. It's my girl, Lainey Wilson. Big fan. Saw her live last summer.
I love her.
I do too. She's awesome. So, Lainey, if you're watching,
Yes,
welcome
we
to
love
the
you.
P. Big
Welcome
fans
to the
here.
P.
Welcome to the P. Love it up here too. Come back.
It's
when you
not
hear
used to
this
the
phone.
music being off. It's like, remember me?
It's like, someone feed me, put money in me. I heard you talking about me. Now I want to play.
I want to play music.
All right. Well, with that, our little introduction from our girl, Lainey Wilson, I think we'll take one more quick break, and then we really are going to bring on our special guest of honor. So stay tuned for one more quick segment. We'll be right back. Welcome back. It's Last Call on The Dish with Danielle, and we are back at the Prospector with the man, the myth, the legend, and MEDC board member, Bobby Case. Thanks for having us for lunch today.
Oh, yeah. Thanks.
We had a blast.
Thank
Everything
you.
was delicious. Everyone ate every last bite.
We always do.
I mean,
Always.
and we'll be, I usually come here in the nighttime, but maybe I'll start coming at lunchtime more. If I'm around Marlborough more, I'll be coming back for more food. Believe me.
You'll be in good company.
I'm sure I will. I'll bring my mom and dad down. They love it here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So you have done so much for our community over the years, whether it's through your work with the MEDC or the Shamrocks or the Mayor's Charity Relief Fund or the Evening of Giving or you name it. You are a staple and a fixture in our community. So what's one of the best things or your favorite things that's happened to you in Marlborough over the years?
Well, maybe it's the Evening of Giving. It ran for 30 years, and then COVID hit, and then it's just hard to get it started again because, unfortunately, we had an older crowd, and they just don't like crowds and people without masks.
Yeah.
And until the COVID completely goes away, I don't think we'll see the Evening Giving coming back.
Okay. That's a bummer because
Yeah.
I think for folks at home who might not know, the Evening of Giving was a huge event held annually in November, December timeframe, right?
December, yeah.
As a fundraiser for Roland's House, which is our
Yes.
homeless shelter here
Yeah,
in Marlborough. And it was a huge community event. Everyone would come together. All the restaurants would send down food to the event, and people would, get all dolled up and go down and give a ton of money to charity and help keep Roland's House,
And-
working
yeah,
and
and-
serving people here in the community.
Yeah. And it would maybe have about 1,000 people.
Wow.
1,000 people a year. And how we put them all together, I don't know.
And about how much money would it raise?
It would raise between $40,000 and $50,000.
That's amazing. That's
It was so
amazing.
much fun,
It
too.
really is.
Yeah, and it wasn't really a hard sell,
Right.
So, but when we first started, I remember the day very clearly. We started at the Holiday Inn, and I figured we would have maybe 400 people maxed out. So at that time, there was all chafing dish stuff, foods. And so I had 17 pieces of food per person. So
That's a lot.
it's for 400 people.
That's plenty of food.
750 people showed up.
What'd you do? Order pizza?
No, we
Brought them all
wiped.
down to the P.
No, we wiped out. Sylvester Ruggiero was the manager then. We wiped out his freezer,
Wow.
and we got by, and we were rolling tables on the dance floor. It was really chaotic, but it was a lot of fun. And
What a
from
great
there
story.
on, it went 1,000 people.
What a great story. My senior prom was at the Holiday Inn, by the way, so it's the random little tidbit
thing.
there.
So Bob and I co-chaired the Mayor's Charity Ball together the last few years, and I'm always impressed that you know somebody that knows somebody that can always get whatever it is that we're missing we can always get it done.
Yeah.
You know, whether it's the
I
night
gotta,
of
it's the
or
I got
ahead
a
of-
guy, right? I got a guy.
Always. Like we're in the middle of the event and oh my gosh, we don't have XYZ and Bob, I got it, I'm on it. And you always have somebody that you can call to get it done, which is awesome.
Yeah, I'm interested. I think the folks at home would be interested to hear a little bit about your time with the Shamrocks. I mean, the nationally championship football team here at Marlborough. I know they're not playing right now, and
Yeah, I was just talking to
Mike.
the guy that's filming this.
Yes. We need a B-roll of him eating his lunch too.
We talked a lot about the Shamrocks just in a short period of time we were here.
Yeah.
And he was a child when we started. And now look at him, he's grown up and he's
got
filming them.
all these kids of his own, and they're in college, and you know, can't keep track.
But yeah, the Shamrocks were a great outfit, and fortunate enough to have Bobby Brennan as a coach for the last 15 years.
Wow, I didn't realize it was that long.
Yeah, and I was fortunate enough to have Dave Palazzi as a quarterback. So, and I was hands off. I
Yeah.
wasn't hands on. I was hands off.
Well,
And they did everything they could to get a championship team together.
and they did right recently.
Oh, they did. Well, this team from Worcester came over as the Shamrocks. And I was just telling Mike, they were a good team, but they were very mouthy. And it just scared away the kids that used to come to the games.
That stinks.
And so that's why
It didn't work out.
They
Now, what
didn't.
was the name of the league that the Shamrocks were playing in?
Eastern Football League.
Eastern Football League. Okay.
Do you play football, Bob?
Did I?
Yeah.
I played at the JC and the junior college.
Okay.
And the junior college coach says, you stick to basketball. So
All of my sports coach said that I should stick to a different sport.
So
I feel you on that
yeah,
one.
I
really
stuck
do.
to basketball.
Yeah. All right.
I think it was the first scrimmage we had, and I think it was O.J. Simpson ran over me. I think
Stop it.
He was going to it was in California.
Wow.
And I went to Santa Rosa JC, and
That's so funny.
and he was Contra Costa JC or something like that. I don't know. Maybe it wasn't OJ, but he ran over me like it was OJ.
Like it was.
Like it was
And,
Refrigerator Perry.
that's when the coach said, I think maybe you should
Not do this.
stick to basketball.
Yeah.
That's
Wow.
funny.
Well, I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to sit down with us. I also can't thank you enough for everything that you've done in the community over the years.
thank you.
I don't know where we'd be without you, and I just can't thank you enough. And I think I speak on behalf of everyone
Everyone.
here.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to say on behalf of all of the residents of Marlborough, and we're just grateful to have you here. We're grateful to still be able to come down the bar and see you and
Yeah.
hang out and get some stories. We were having some great stories the other day, too, about, you know, some of the political stuff that happened in the Wayback Machine.
Yeah.
And you've seen it all, you've lived it all, you know it all,
Yeah.
and the stories that you can tell, man.
Well, I don't
There's
know
a
it
country
all.
music song in that, for
Yeah.
sure.
But you're very gracious, and thank you very
All right.
much for having me.
Thank you.
And thank you for doing this.
Oh, of course. I think it'll be great. So I want to encourage everybody to come down to the Prospector and get their dose of local Marlborough charm. Maybe you'll run into Bobby, maybe you'll run into Lindsay and the ladies from the MEDC and myself. And please come down and have a pint of something cold and a sandwich and a cheeseburger, hot
chicken,
dogs,
pasta
chicken,
salad.
whatever you want.
Whatever you need.
They got it, and it's outstanding. We look forward to seeing you down here at the Prospector East Saloon. That's it for this episode of The Dish with Danielle. Stay tuned for our next episode. It's going to be a doozy.